Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me.
Yeah, well, be a good person, be a positive person, and most of all, don't be a dick.
Man, I can't wait to go to church camp this year. It's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, I love church camp, brah. High five. Okay.
Yeah.
After I get home from church camp, I'm gonna travel the world and study all different religions.
It all started when I was a little boy. I lived in a home that didn't necessarily renounce Christ, but we didn't go to church either. I only knew my mom's husband as a stepfather. He was a Catholic, but we never went to Mass. My mom was basically adopted. Her parents were from Stryker, and they came and picked my mom up at age 11. She graduated from high school, and she was married. She came from a bad place, but my grandma truly believed that she was a Protestant Christian, and she took my mom to church every Sunday. I remember I was about 2 years old when my mom divorced, and I was shuttled around to live with different people and to have them help raise me because my mom wasn't too interested in raising me. My mom met her recent husband, and my grandma was the one that always came by to take me to church. Every Sunday she took me to Sunday school from the time I was about 6 until I was about 11 years old. During that time, I learned about Christianity. My stepdad was an alcoholic, and he abused me and molested me when I was young. He psychologically abused me and tormented my mother and I. My mom had psychological issues of her own because of all this. When I was about 16 or 17, I was forced out of the house by my stepdad, and he just didn't want me in the house. My mom encouraged me to get out of the house. She never really forced me out, but she encouraged him. My sister ended up taking me in to live with her. In school, I wasn't athletic or scholarly. I had a possible learning disability. I lived in an abusive home, and I lived in poverty. In the morning before school, I would go to work from 7 until 9 when school started because I went to Fort County, a career center. I never practiced Christian living during my teen years. I did marijuana from about age 12 into my early 20s. I didn't have a loving home or caring parents. In my early 20s, a lot of stuff happened, and I recommitted to the Lord in the early 80s. Christianity was really the only religion in Northwest Ohio. Most everyone I knew was a Christian. I believe that I had a Christian adoptive grandma and other people that knew my situation, and they were praying for me. They were praying for God to look out for me and help me. God heard their prayers. I did a lot of bad things in my life, and I've made some bad judgments, and yet I was spared. God has had influence in my life since I was young, even when I didn't really acknowledge it. I believe that part of why God spared my life was that it was a way for me to meet your Aunt Karen. She was a God seeker too. She wanted to learn about God. We grew in Christianity together, and we tried to find out how to live for God together. We were married at age 18, and then John came along, and we had an impact on her life so much that she ended up going to a private Christian college, and now she raises her children in the church and to have a Christian faith. God is interested in Christian provision. John grew in her own personal relationship with Christ, and our experiences impacted her in her life.
I started going to church when I was 5. A small pastor moved in next door and took my sister and I to church. I've altered back and forth in my faith, but now I can say my Christian religion views are stronger than ever.
When I was growing up, we were Presbyterian. At a young age, however, I didn't go to church that often. I stayed at my great-grandparents' house, your great-grandma and great-grandparents, in Jefferson a lot. My father left my mom and his 3 kids soon after I was born. That prick just got up and left, as if he was too good for me. Mom, what does that have to do with going to church camp? Oh, hell no. Your father was a Lutheran, and so was his whole family. It seemed like everyone I met through your father was Lutheran. The lazy Catholics. I always associated Lutherans with being drunks because of him. I guess it was kind of funny to hear that now. But it was true. I thought they were all the same. Mom, you can leave now. You're embarrassing me with all your complaining. It was out in the middle of nowhere at a huge non-denominational church conference building. It was during the late evening, and there had to be around 1,000 people wanting to participate in the church camp.
At church camp, we stayed in cabins that were right by the lake. There were several different buildings, one where we would eat lunch and others where we would have our different spiritual services. There were basketball and volleyball courts and also a big kickball field. One of the nice things about Lake James was right off the lake there was a fire pit and a half circle of bleacher seats around it.
But this year, church camp was completely different. It was almost like the TV show Survivor. We had to do certain events, and if we didn't win, there would be punishments.
Hey, Rami, you're the man. Yeah.
Yeah, church camp was the worst, with everything being competitive athletically that always came with people who did not like our cabin. During big rivalry days, such as the huge game every year against Licking Valley, kids from other cabins would always prank us. So when it came to that day, tension and rivalry was so high that Monday we woke up with fish sticks all over our cabin yard.
Sorry, Abby. I love you.
During Lent, our cabin would eat fish on Fridays and abstain from meat. We will never know who did this, but of course speculation is that it was people from the Newark cabin who are angry with my father after he left. But whoever must have thought it was so witty to throw fish sticks all over our yard since we are fish eaters. This totally changed my outlook that I had on things, especially my morals and values. Throughout the process, I went through my own spiritual renewal. Yes, there are some things I agree with, but I no longer will question why I will never go to church camp ever again.
Religion has been a part of my entire life in some way or another, and I've been working on making it an even bigger part of my life this past week, because I knew Jesus was the only person that was going to get me through that week.
At this moment in time is when I understood the odd phenomenon that's portrayed in movies, music, and other pop culture. That church camp only loves you if you love church camp. It does not matter what values I have, how much time I put in the community service, or the connections I've made between other youth and the church. If I don't believe in what they believe, I will go to hell. Thus, I'm not welcome. Church camp is hell!
So, I don't know what you guys are talking about because I love church camp. One of my favorite moments was when we'd go back to the cabin and there'd be like about 6 guys on each side, but at night it would be a blast because we would talk to each other about life and how excited we were about the next year. We all thought life would be so much different. We'd be laughing and talking all night, and our counselors would just keep telling us to be quiet and it was time to go to sleep. One of our counselors would let us use his laptop, and we'd watch YouTube videos, which we thought was awesome because electronics was prohibited. We would watch music videos and funny videos all night. Church camp was a very influential time in my life and a time I will never forget.
After I get home from church camp, I'm going to travel the world and study all different religions.